And today, it's the big story. And the question everyone has in mind, and it's this: will Barack Obama ever be seen in an orange onesie? Okay, this is a big question. And let's put it this way. Will he ever be seen in one of these? No. And Susan Rice should be in that picture as well. We'll bring it back in a minute. Now, will Obama be in an orange onesie after being caught red-handed, greenlighting, to mix metaphors, the expansion of the Russian collusion hoax? Will he have to suffer the consequences? Will he be required to have public excoriation? I mean, aside from the stuff he's already had. For approving a change in the intelligence community assessment to say the Russians wanted Trump to win. And then for using the bad intel, remember, last week we went through the meetings. December 8th, 2016, they have a meeting and say, okay, they've got the regular meeting with the intel guys. You got John Brennan, and you've got Susan Rice, and you've got Jim Clapper, and you've got, I think Joe's even in this one, and I think Loretta Lynch might have been in there. It was a sort of a whole of government almost, if you will, of people who use intel, and they came to the conclusion, hey, we don't like this because it says that the Russians didn't actually have much to do with the election. They didn't hack the election. They just usually do with their regular bad acting. Okay. All right. And the next day, Barack Obama called them all back in, and then he said, well, we need to change the intelligence to read that it says the Russians interfered with the election to the extent that it changed the election. So they did. And then they put that information in that intelligence community assessment, ICA, that you see referred to, if you're keeping up with this. And then Obama got it put in his presidential daily brief, his last one, because the last one is the one that Donald Trump would have gotten. And so they excised it. They scuttled that information in Donald Trump's presidential daily brief. Wow. So then what did he do? He kept lying about it. He knew it was fake information. And so Barack Obama kept lying about it. So is Barack Obama ever going to be in an orange onesie? That's the question. And the idea is that, for setting up this conspiracy, which it is, those meetings I just told you about, that was part of the conspiracy. Oh, yeah, that's right. The head of the FBI was there, too. This involved the CIA director, the director of national intelligence, the FBI director, national security advisor, Susan Rice, using fake evidence. And all these people, I like Barack Obama's onesies. I did this on Grok, I think Grok 3. And I did this, but Susan Rice was supposed to be in it, so I don't know what happened to my photo of Susan Rice. Whatever. She should be, locked up too, if there were justice in the world. A lot of people are saying, well, Victoria, what's the big deal? So what? You used fake evidence. You lied to an incoming president. You lied to the country. You lied to the country to change the results of an election. You did all kinds of things. Well, that's politics, man. That's politics. That's not crime. That's not anything. That's nothing that no one else has ever done before. No, actually, no one else has ever done this before. Even Watergate does not touch this. You can't touch this, Watergate. You can't gate this one. This is an entirely new thing. It's completely blasted the Overton window of what is appropriate for running an election in the United States of America. People go to prison for this kind of stuff. They do, and they should. They really should. And so Barack Obama, will he have to wear that orange onesie? Will he have to eat that green bologna sandwich and wear the pink underwear? Well, no, probably not. And how do I know that? Because when the Democrats in this conspiracy kept up the ongoing, continual criminal enterprise, which is what this is, they brought up lawfare against Trump and they kept it up until 2026. A lot of people say, well, the statute of limitations, and unless he did something as president, he can't go to prison. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And one of the cases that they brought against the sitting president of the United States at that point in time, when this thing was weaponized into a counterintelligence operation by the FBI, by Jim Comey, by Barack Obama, one of the things they did was that they tried to make decisions that Donald Trump made into a crime. They criminalized direct decisions made by Donald Trump. And here's what the Supreme Court ruled in the case when the lawfare crowd in Barack Obama's corner brought a lawsuit against the president of the United States and said, hey, whatever he decided over here, he can't decide that because that's not something over which a president or under which a president gets immunity. And here's what the Supreme Court ruled in this case. A former president has absolute immunity from criminal prosecution for actions that fall within the core of their job, declaring war, running the government, and all that stuff, which is why all those lawsuits about the president saying, firing people, that's his job. He's the executive in charge of that portion of the branch of government. So those were dead letters. So, okay, so you have the absolute immunity, and then it drags down to the official acts have to be covered under immunity. It's presumed immune for the other official acts, perhaps. And then there's no immunity for any unofficial or purely personal acts. Now, you have to ask yourself, do Barack Obama's actions fall within the unofficial or personal acts? But it's up to a judge to decide now. Do you think do you think a judge is going to say, well, starting the whole conspiracy, changing the evidence and changing the entire intelligence community read on what the Russians did? I mean, sure, we can't really say if it did anything. Is it a problem? Is this something that fell within his job core? I mean, his core job duties? We don't know. Barack Obama's act could fall within, I think, unofficial or personal acts, but it's up to judge. So chances are he won't be indicted at all unless he's an unindicted co-conspirator. So he won't be indicted, probably, and he won't be wearing an orange onesie, and he's not going to be walked. There will be no mug shot. There will be no frog marching, and Barack Obama may skate. But if they do it as an unindicted co-conspirator, which is what they did to Richard Nixon, he can thank the guy, and given immunity, he can thank the guy that he was trying to oust and smear, whose immunity was stripped, whose friends helped pierce the attorney-client privilege for the former, when this came up, the former president, who set in motion his friends' attempts to sue into bankruptcy, whose intelligence community tried to frame, whose friends tried to imprison for over 100 years. They wanted to throw him in prison, who was denounced for the entirety of his first term as an illegitimate president, a compromised president, a Russian secret agent, and whose friends in the media amplified those lies for him. Is Barack Obama going to wear an orange onesie? Probably not. And you know who he has to thank for it? The guy who he tried to ruin. Man, that's something. That is really something.